Hi, this is Miss B. I am the Magic Summary Writing Fairy, and I'm here to help you learn how to write a summary today. We're going to figure out what is a summary and how do I write one? Okay, no worries. So by the end of today, I want you to think about if you can explain to someone in your house what a summary is. I want you to think about if you can fill in a planning tool using TAAMIO. We're going to learn that. We'll see if you can do that by the end of today. And then can you transfer what you wrote on your planning tool to actually writing it on a piece of paper and making a summary? So what is a summary? You summarize all the time. If your family asks you, what'd you do today? You're giving them a summary of your day, of a soccer game you had. Maybe you're giving a summary to your friends or your favorite movie. You speak summaries all the time. Today, we're just going to practice writing them. It's the same thing. So we have two that we do in school a lot. We do a nonfiction summary, which is about informational text. And it's just shortening of whatever you read into the most important parts of that text. And it usually includes the main idea and the key details in your own words. We don't usually use quotes in summaries. We try to put them in our own words. And then we also do fiction summaries sometimes. And that's where you're doing the same exact thing, but with a story that you read. You're shortening it to tell the most important parts, the beginning, the middle, and the end, and what the problem and the solution of the story was. So why in the world should I summarize? So summarizing is really helpful because it takes a long assignment or reading and shrinks it just to the most important parts so you can remember it and you can understand it better. It also helps you learn to determine the key ideas and important details, and you use that all the way up through college and beyond. It also helps avoid figuring out what's important versus like the distractors in your paragraphs and stuff that aren't that important. It helps you figure that out and when you can learn to summarize. And then it also helps you remember important words and phrases that you can remember for the future that'll help you get smarter. So we're going to try to use TAAMIO, TAAMIO, TAAMIO is the way to summary and go, something like that. So this is really cool because the first four, TAAM, when you're done with that, your introduction is done. It's written for you. That's what makes it so cool. So all you have to do is copy this down and your introduction is done. So the first T is, what type of text are you reading? So you're going to say in this, the first three words of your summary are going to be in this text or in this article or in this newspaper, whatever it came from. That's your first. And then you're going to talk about the author. You're going to say the author, or if you want to use the author's name, say I wrote it, Miss Beringer. And then what is that author doing? Is he explaining something to you, describing something, arguing something, telling you something? That's what you're going to write in the first 6 words. In this text, the author explains. And then the fourth part of this is you're going to write the main idea that you came up with and connect it right there. And your introduction is done. Easy. And then after that, you're just going to write the key details that you find in your text, the most important details, the beginning, the most important ones in the middle, and the most important ones in the end. And remember, it has to be in order, just like I said, and each one of those details is going to be connected with a transition word. Remember, we've learned those and we have anchor charts of those, like first, second, last, one thing, another thing, also, those transition words that connect the different details. And if you don't have a list of those, just Google it and you'll come up with a ton of transition words you can use. So we're going to practice. What you need to do first is you have to have a marked up article. You have to have already read your article before you write a summary. You can't write a summary if you don't know what the article is about. So you can see I have one done. I have my gist statements on the side telling me what each section is mostly about. I've found the words out that I don't know. I've highlighted some things I think are important. You're also going to need a graphic organizer to plan your writing. either one that the teacher wants you to fill out or one that works for your brain. And then you're going to need a piece of paper to write your summary and a pencil, and then some highlighters, 3 colors if you have them. And if you're on the computer, see if you can use a highlighting tool on your computer. We're going to use the article Secrets of the Humpback Whale today. It's one that we did in 4th grade, and you can see I've already done my close reading and it's all marked up. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to find the important information. We're going to first figure out what our main idea might be. So I'm going to reread the first paragraph, and if I don't see something about what I think might be a main idea, I'm going to go to the second paragraph. In this one, I see it in the second paragraph. The first one's just a distractor paragraph. It's just telling us beautiful little things. So I see here that it says scientists have spent years trying to unravel the secrets of its life, and that people are curious about humpback whales. And it's secrets about humpback whales, and look, there's the title too. So it's in the title and it's in the text, so it must be pretty important. So I am going to make a main idea statement out of my own words with the words here about it, that scientists are discovering secrets about the humpback whale. Now, in the graphic organizer, we're using the teacher wants us to find 3 key details. And so this is a really cool text because it has the bold headings. And so I know that and there's 4 of them. We need to choose 3 areas. So I'm going to choose 3 sections that I feel like I can write about and talk about the best. You pick your favorite 3, I'm going to pick my favorite 3. I was reading through my gist notes so I could see which makes more sense to me and what I can write about the best. And I think I can write about what the whale looks like. And I think I can write about what the whale likes to eat and how it likes to eat. And I think I can write about that it migrates, it goes on long migrations. So I've figured out my 3 key details I'm going to talk about. Now I have to fill in those key details with evidence or important details from my text. And so I'm going to reread this section, and I'm going to find and highlight some details that talk about what it looks like. Okay, so here's some that talk about what it looks like. Now I'm going to highlight some areas that talks about what it eats or how it eats. Something that makes sense to me that I think I can write about. And then some more details about how it migrates or what that looks like. Things that I feel like I can write about. So there we go. I have all of my important information circled or highlighted. And that information is what's going to go on my graphic organizer and then into my summary. So here's my graphic organizer. Remember, we're using T-A-A-M-I-O, T-A-A-M-I-O. And remember the first 4 parts, T-A-A-M, is your introduction, and it's already pretty much done for you. In this article, the author explains, and then I wrote the main idea that I came up with after I found it and I circled it, and I decided my main idea is going to be scientists study humpbacks and have discovered many secrets. So what's one thing that they discovered? They discovered that humpbacks are big, because I circled that area, and I said I'm going to talk about what it looks like. And when I read through my details, I decided that it talks a lot about how it's big. So my first detail is going to be that humpbacks are big and that they eat a lot. I read through and I thought, you know what? It talks about how they really eat a lot. And then that they migrate, that humpbacks migrate. And so those are some big secrets that scientists have discovered. So now I just have to fill in below my key details with important details from the text. And so those are the parts that are highlighted in yellow. And so anywhere that I highlighted in yellow that talks about humpbacks being big, I wrote them down here. But I didn't copy them word for word. I paraphrased them. That means I read them and then I just put them down in my own words. And that's what we want to do with summaries. We want to paraphrase instead of just copying everything from the text. Not with a summary. You don't want to do that. We want to use our own words. And then I looked under where humpbacks eat, and I wrote down all the areas that it talked about where it eats a lot and how it can eat a lot. And then I went to the area about where it talks about them migrating, and I wrote down like where and how they migrate and all the details that I highlighted that talk about them migrating. And then I wrote my conclusion. And the conclusion, remember we'd worked on this, the conclusion is just taking the introduction and just kind of moving the words around and saying it in a different way, because it makes like an information sandwich, our summary. The introduction tells the reader what you're going to talk about. Then you talk about it with lots of juicy details in the middle. And then the conclusion is like the bottom, where you're just going to remind the reader what you just told them about. And so it has to sound like the introduction, but just moved around a little bit. So I changed the words around a little bit for my introduction, and I wrote my conclusion. So now all I have to do is put it on a piece of paper. So I'm going to get a piece of paper, and I'm going to start with writing the introduction. And look, I just have to write this on my piece of paper. I indent, and then I write, in the article, the author explains that scientists study humpbacks and have discovered many secrets. Now I'm going to my next section. I'm going down, and so because I'm going to my next section, I have to use a transition word. So one discovery scientists have made is that humpbacks are big. And then I'm going to use one of my details. My teacher told me that they only want to use one detail per section. And so I looked at my details and I chose the one that I liked the best, that I thought talked about it the best. And so I chose that one. Humpbacks are big. They can grow to be 40, 50 feet long. So I'm done with that. So I go to the next section. So if I go to a next section, I use a transition word. Another discovery scientists made were that humpbacks eat a lot. And then I used my detail from my text. I picked that one. I like that one the best. And then I'm going to another section. So I use a transition word. Also, scientists discovered that humpbacks migrate. And then I thought, you know what? I think I can combine these two details and to make them one. So I did that. And I decided, I'm not going to use that one. So that's what I used. And then here's my conclusion that I already wrote. Copy that down on my piece of paper, just like everything else. And voila. Oops, there it is. And you can see I indented to start at the beginning. And then here is my introduction. Here's my transition word, one discovery. And here is my key detail. And then here is my text evidence that I paraphrased, my first one. Then here's my next key detail and my transition word. And here is the text evidence. And then here we go to the next section. There's my transition word. Here is my key detail. And here is my text evidence. And then right here is my conclusion, copied word for word off of my graphic organizer. Woohoo! So use this video, look at it over and over again to see how it's structured. If that's where you have the problem, you can take it and you can pause and you can look at it and you can use this as a format. That's what it's there for. So think about it. Today, after this, do you feel like you could explain to somebody in your house what a summary is? Do you feel like you could fill in a planning tool using TAAMIO? And do you feel like you could transfer what you wrote on your graphic organizer or your planning tool into an actual summary paragraph? If you feel like, yeah, I can do it, then go for it. If you feel like, yeah, kind of, then keep watching this video as you're writing it and see if that will help you structure it. And if you just don't get it, that's what we're here for. Call us, Zoom with us, email us. We will be here to help you write your summary. Okay, guys. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.